And we're back, folks. Another Michigan football film study focused on the offense with Al Borges. You guys know by now, I start off all film studies with the disclaimer. We do not own the footage used in this breakdown. For that reason, we use it strictly for you, the people. It is for your education, your entertainment, and your edification. We do not make any money off of these videos because we do not own the footage. There's no sponsorship, there's no monetization. It is just for you, the people. Of course, you can support the channel and the video by liking the video, by subscribing to the channel. That way, you'll get a notification every time we do a new video. Of course, you can find everything that we do over on the MichiganInsider.com. It is a one-stop shop for all of your Michigan needs: football, basketball, and recruiting. Intel on the message board. Of course, you can find our podcasts as well as any written content. You can even get access to other team sites by getting a VIP membership. $1 gets you in the door your first month. And then once you get hooked, of course, you become a full paying member. Your subscription also includes access to Paramount Plus. It is great bang for your buck. So be sure to join us over on the MichiganInsider.com on the 24/7 Sports Network. With that, Al Borges, gorgeous one, back from Auburn. You got a chance to watch this Michigan game as you sat back down when you arrived back from down south, and you saw a punishing effort from the Maize and Blue.
Yeah, I did. I think they played better games overall, but I think the statement they made in the second half with their physicality was certainly impressive. I mean, they defense settled in and basically stoned Michigan State, and the offense just played a lot of ball control and leaned on them and finished the game strong.
Absolutely. It was, I think imposing is the right word. Admittedly, I thought that this would be a game that they they sort of carved them up through the air. Wound up not working out that way. That doesn't mean it was just a different kind of dominant, and mostly in the second half, admittedly. I mean, it was a tight game in the first half. Michigan State, like we saw with Penn State for a good portion of the game, they were able to bend but not break. And I also think, Al, as we get into the first play, I kind of think from a play call perspective, as you got deeper in the game, the play calling started to reflect that, hey, we're pushing them around, that A, we're pushing them around, B, our defense is lights out, C, Jake Moody is money. And I started to think they started to lean into that with the play calling, as if to say the only way we're going to lose this game now is if we make a mistake.
Yeah, and I think they've done that in several games. The funny thing about your game planning is you have an approach you want to take from the get-go. Okay, you go with that approach, you see how it goes. Okay, and then your battlefield decisions can change and strategy can change based on the game flow. Okay, in that game, it was becoming apparent, particularly in the second half of the game, that they were struggling to stop the run. And we're not going to move the ball. I mean, the second half, Michigan State, till they hit that deep ball, really did nothing. Okay. So then it became the responsibility of the offense to continue to control the football, play fairly safe without playing conservative, if there's any way to do that, and then just wind time off the clock and give them virtually no chance to come back and win. And that's really what they did. It's not the most exciting solution to entertaining the fans,
no doubt,
but it is effective.
No doubt. All right, so let's get into the plays, Al, what the people come to this channel for, the breakdowns. And so we'll start off first in the first quarter, split zone, RPO, sit flat versus corner blitz, Al Borges.
Okay, I want to start, Sam, before we go and draw anything, and talk about the growth of the quarterback. Because a couple of weeks ago, I don't remember, 2 or 3 weeks ago, there was a 3rd down and 3 call where the ball was handed to the fourth team tailback, okay? And there was an RPO in the perimeter. The end closed it. Do you remember that? And then he didn't throw a wide open RPO. They blitzed off the edge. They handed the ball to him, and it didn't get the first down, and it was criticized heavily. Okay, a lot of people had a lot of questions. Well, here is what is in essence the same scenario. Okay, it's a different formation and a different blitzer, but it's the same scenario for all intents and purposes. Okay, they're in a snug formation, so everybody's pulled in tight with 12 personnel. You got two tight ends off the ball, two wide receivers in close. Okay, there's your possible add-in. That's the guy that if he adds into the box, the quarterback has to be very aware of that because there's an RPO incorporated in this play. This is going to be a split zone, as you can see. All right. I believe it's Ronnie Bell is coming off. I take that right back. That's CJ on the bottom. It's going to come off and block that nickel back. The left tackle is going to block that 5 technique, and the center and left guard are going to double to that nickel back. So you really kind of got two guys on the nickel back. The backside the right guard, right tackle, and the backside are going to double to that middle linebacker. We're going to turn that 5 technique loose on the backside and allow the off tight end to come and kick him out on a split zone. The 5 technique and the inside linebacker are unblocked. Okay. But we have an RPO to account for anyone adding into the box. That's with the wide receivers running a 6-yard sit and Luke Schoonmaker's going into the flat. Okay. So as JJ goes into Corum's gut, he's going to see what's up. You can see right there that 5 technique's going to spike inside, although he never does get inside the tackle. The tackle beats him inside, and the corner is going to blitz off the edge. They got one extra, Sam. They got one extra. If he gives him the ball here, the end is going to close that give, and that corner is going to play the quarterback. So someone has to be built into the progression to take advantage of that corner blitz. And in this case, it's Luke. You can see the 3 linebacker all bite to run. The corner comes up. It's a 2 deep or a roll up to the field side. You can't see the safety on the screen, but he's playing cover 2. So JJ, who missed this read a few weeks ago, pulls the ball on 3rd and 3 and slips the ball out to Luke Schoonmaker for the first down. I thought this was cool. True growth by the quarterback, experiencing the same scenario that he failed on before and knowing exactly what to do to keep the chains moving the next time around. Right. Split zone RPO, sit flat versus corner blitz. There's your add-in. There's your blocking scheme. You see that. They're doubling off that second level. There's your split zone look. And Corum is going to run the inside zone, assuming he could get the ball. But he doesn't. Why? Because of the add-in.
All right. And here is the full play. Boom.
Nicely done. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's a little play. You know, it didn't gain 50 yards, but it kept the chains moving and showed the growth of the quarterback, not making the same mistake that he made before.
Hasn't that been, don't you think, for JJ this year, that's been, I feel like there's an example of that every single game that we've seen, Al, where, you know, something it's like, oh man, you know, he messed that up this week, and the very next week he comes back and it's fixed.
Coachability, Sam. What I used to tell the players, I said, I want to recoach you. I want to coach you once, you get it, and we can move on. No recoaching. You don't have to recoach JJ McCarthy. You tell him once, he processes it, and he takes it onto the field because he has good functional intelligence. What's functional intelligence? The ability to take what you've been taught onto the field and execute it.
All right, Al. And so we get right back to it. And this was one that you know, we see a couple of examples of this play, and on this play we see him hit different guys on it.
Yes.
So this was, again, it's important to kind of highlight, like we did in the Indiana game where he had the bingo cross and he hit 4 different guys. They ran it like 5 times. He hit 4 different guys on it. Well, here's a play where he had 2 different guys on the play against different coverages. So let's pick it up.
This is a play action pass to Donovan Edwards with a 4 vertical concept switch. What switch? Switch means instead of the inside receiver running down the hash, he's going to run down the number, and the outside receiver is going to come underneath him and run down the hash, okay? HBO, Sam. HBO is short for halfback option. Halfback option means the back, after he takes the fake, is going to run an option route on the Mike linebacker. Okay, so as you see the routes, this is cover 2 man. And we'll explain cover 2 man here in just a second. There's your 4 verticals. He's going to alert those verticals. If somebody looks great, he may throw it to him. He'll take a quick peek. So he's going to alert those verticals. If he sees someone break free, he may abort throwing the ball to the back. Now, there's your mismatched linebacker. He is on Donovan Edwards one-on-one, and he has to cover him the entire width and the depth of the middle post in terms of down the middle of the field, okay? Because he's got safeties that are going to split, but that's going to allow Donovan to work that middle if he wants to. Now, he doesn't have to in this instance, as you'll see in just a second.
And here's
but
the
he
thing
is
that
locked on Donovan Edwards. That's number 4, Wyndham, who has played defensive end in the past, okay? So we got to like that matchup. We're looking at our chops on that matchup. There you see. I got him. The other dudes underneath, well, here, let's take a look. He's going to take a little play pass, push up the field, maneuver that linebacker, break his ankles, and bust outside, okay? He probably has the option to also work to the field if he thinks that's where if the linebacker's playing him the other direction. Okay. Now, the defense, 2 safeties and half coverage. Everybody is man-to-man underneath, okay? They know they got deep help. So they can actually get beat a little bit deep, knowing those safeties will bail them out, okay? There's your look. They run a little twist, little ET on the bottom, and come across. That's a 4-man rush. But you got the perfect scenario. It's not what you call it, it's when you call it. They call this at the perfect time. They got Donovan on Wyndham in a man-to-man situation with deep safeties and the corners and nickel guys running out of there with the verticals. Oh, what could be better? The run after catch should be huge.
And it was.
Watch him work through now. Wiggle him. Bam. Broke his ankles. Goodbye. And you can see how bad that matchup is for Michigan State. Oh, better look. See, watch him now. Wiggle. Oop.
Watching Wyndham run, I actually get why they think he could play to Mike. I mean, he could run pretty well for a defensive end, but
yes,
but
he don't want to be caught in this situation.
No,
this is a bad situation. Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough sledding. That's tough sledding if you're going to try to add. I mean, a regular linebacker, you're not asking to stay with Donovan Edwards, right? But
right. But one that plays D line too. I don't know about that one, Sam.
All right, and so let's bring up the switch that he hit the receiver on.
Okay, same play. We didn't telestrate this. Don't need to. It's really all the same stuff. Now, in this instance, I believe they went to quarters, and the switch route bends. It bends inside on that safety playing quarters to the boundary side. See that? The top left safety is coming down a little bit, but then he's going to start to carry that, and Luke is going to bend inside him. It's not Luke, actually. It's Ronnie. He's going to bend inside him right underneath that quarter safety. And now, rather than throw the ball to the back, you got a bending receiver behind the linebackers wide open. You give him a little token play pass so that you can pull the core up a little bit and clear out that throwing lane.
Yeah.
See, he's just going to flash the ball. Oh, that's why you alert the verticals, Sam, because every so often they blow right by somebody. You can see that switch.
Yeah.
Switch meaning I take your route, you take my route. Oh, look at him. Look at him drive that throw. Got his hips through the target, finished on that front foot, and he threw him a perfect ball.
So, that was Ronnie had the most targets among the receivers, 12 receiver targets for the game. That is one of the things in a game where Michigan pushed Michigan State around and really imposed this will in the second half. From a pass catcher standpoint, this is more about the backs and tight ends as receivers. They have more targets in this game. And when they got into the red zone, though, and now we get into the portion that I know most folks are kind of coming to the film study this week to ask about, looking for answers on, and that is why wasn't Michigan able to capitalize on the red zone opportunities more than they did. So broad stroke it for me, Al, before we get into the video for folks who didn't watch the breakdown, why it is you think Michigan wasn't as successful in the red zone. And just right now they're 63%. So it's not just a one game thing per se, but what do you look at as maybe the biggest culprit?
Well, first of all, the first 5 trips, 4 of the 5 trips, I should say, started with run plays, which why not? We run the hell out of the ball, right? But not all of them were successful. The first one, after Donovan's catch, the ball went down to the 4-yard line, and they followed it with a split zone that got blown up in the backfield. Slade leaked in the A gap, 64, and knocked off the guy coming across on the split zone and lost, I think, 3 yards. So that was a bad start, followed by a zone read that was pulled. It was pulled, and they got poor blocking in the perimeter when JJ pulled the ball, and they lost a couple bit more yards. So that was 2 runs back to back. Okay, which is fine. I mean, that when you run the ball well, that happens, but you got to execute better, right? And if you're struggling to execute as good down there, maybe there's a time you start with a pass play. Start one of those drives with a shot for the end zone or a high percentage throw, and then run the ball on second down. That's another thought I mentioned on the other telecast about maybe scripting some red zone plays, just like you would script the first 15 in a game and say, okay, we're going to run these 6 plays back to back once we hit the red zone. That's another idea too. But then you get the problem that happens, Sam, is when you get into a passing situation in the low red area, plus 10, the percentages are not good. Okay, you can score, but it's just not as easy because they know you're going to throw the football. They don't respect play action passes, and now you're dependent on a lot of high-low concepts if they're not going to blitz you. Now, if they're going to blitz you, that kind of makes it easier because you can either pick them, or you can throw some crossing routes at them, or throw up some fades if they're pressing. But as soon as they start going to what I call red 7 or goal line zone, which is what Michigan State did, the windows in the pass coverage are very tight, and it becomes more and more difficult in a pure passing situation to complete balls.
All right, so we will get into them now, Al, and let's go to a couple in the second quarter. Right, we'll go to the and these are actually back-to-back plays. And let's just start right here with
okay. This is I thought a well-conceived football play. This is a quarterback draw. What they do is they set a cluster to the short side of the field and motion Donovan Edwards out of the backfield to give you a 4-man side, as you can see right there. Michigan State pulls a guy out, and they put 4 against 4. Okay, now that means we're not going to throw the spot screen to the boundary. The numbers are not good, and you can see if you don't even watch the play that if they did throw the spot screen, that inside most defender would play it. Okay, you got 5 versus 5, which, that's a nice scenario right there. I like that box. That's a decent box right there. Okay, they're out there. The safety outside is in double coverage, but he is not in the box. So we got what we need. Now we got to block him. You can come up with all the design, all the beautiful plays you want to, all the ingenious ideas. Still got to block them, okay? And there's several issues on this one. It's a quarterback draw, and again, I'm going to give you, the way I would coach a quarterback draw, and that doesn't make it the only way to coach a quarterback draw. This is just right. First of all, the left tackle has to set further off the ball to pull the 5 technique off the field. See, he just kicks and sets. Now he ends up kicking the guy into the draw. Get him up the field with a couple of kick slides, and then with your inside arm, try to punch him. We used to call it a shot put technique. Punch him by the quarterback, okay? That opens up the B gap, right? That opens up the B gap. Now, left guard and center have to handle the 2-eye and the Mike linebacker. However that shakes out, it may be 4 eyes and 2 hands, just like you do with only with a pass set on the 2-eye and the Mike linebacker. Two hands meaning two hands on the down guy, four eyes on the linebacker. He may scrape over the top, which the guard would take him. He may come under, which the center would take him, okay? But in this instance, neither guy gets the Mike linebacker, and that hurts, okay? That hurts the play. Also, the right guard is getting pushed back too much, which is inhibiting that backside A-gap running lane, okay? So in essence, they're kind of squeezing the play. And the last thing I would say is, and I learned this from Denard Robinson, okay? Denard Robinson, I used to have the quarterback take one step, get a good peek, and then take off. And Denard asked me, I remember this, my first year, he says, Coach, can I take a three-step drop and see how the rush shakes out better? And I said, you know what, Denard, you don't ask for too much. I'm going to see how that looks. I'll be darned. I let him do that. And he had a way of finding that hole. You know what I mean? But in this instance, JJ's quick with the one step, and he doesn't get much of an ascension out of the second level of the defense, and the Mike plays it, okay? Mm-hmm. So all those things combined, I think, led to the failure of the play. But the biggest thing, the tackle getting off the ball more, the left guard and center basically pass zoning to the Mike linebacker, and the right guard not getting pushed back so much.
All right. And so
that's why the play didn't work, okay? That's why. So when people say, that's a bad call, well, that was a poorly executed call because the picture is really good to run a quarterback draw.
All right. So then on the very next play.
Okay. All this is simply a Hank route. If you guys all remember, Hank is three curls and two guys in the flat. They motion Donovan Edwards out of the backfield, and he just kind of sits there on a little spot route. He serves as the flat guy, okay? You got CJ running a curl. You got Luke running a middle hook, which is in essence a curl. You got Roman running a flat route, and you got Ronnie running a curl. Now, this would have been an opportunity if JJ got off Luke to throw the ball to Ronnie, because I think Ronnie had a shot here for a touchdown. They're all running about a yard past the end line. Okay, what are they doing to stop this play? They are running what is in essence, if you want to call it this, a cover for Tampa. Now, what's Tampa? Tampa's when that Mike linebacker blows out of there and plays the middle of the field. Now, does he have to really blow out of there, Sam? No, because they're inside the 10-yard line, right? But he gets out of there a lot, enough to where he takes that short hook area away, okay? Or he kind of does. Now, these are your throwing lanes, as you can see. But on the Hank route, the quarterback's first look is to see if people divide so he can sneak a ball in there to the tight end. If he doesn't like that for whatever reason, then he can check the next curl to the outside, okay? On this play, see that Mike linebacker blowout? This actually is an excellent throw. There's nowhere else to put that ball, and it is catchable. The problem, I think, is it's coming at high RPMs, okay? And Luke just doesn't get a real good look at it because Luke will catch anything close to it for the most part. But that's the only place I think JJ could throw that ball and complete it. Now, the alternative would have been to get off Luke and then eyeball Ronnie, who's sitting about a yard past the line, and he has a shot. He's got to make sure that nickel's not in the throwing lane, but you can kind of see it from this angle. The ball's already gone here, so that's probably not the best shot right there. Right as he hits the back right about, let's see, you got to see what he sees. Keep going, Sam. Yeah, okay, right there. Now, you can see if you're the quarterback, the wings are right on that tight end, all right? They're right on that tight end, which is pulling that inside linebacker towards it and opening up Ronnie. A quick hitch and a right shoulder throw, you probably got Ronnie Bell for a touchdown. All said, this ball is catchable and probably should have been a touchdown, but this would have been another opportunity to get a ball to wide receiver.
All right.
That's a lot of stuff. I hope you all got that.
Yeah, it is a lot of stuff, but one of the things that Devin talked about in his breakdown is he really felt like threatening the depth of the end zone was something that they really needed to do a better job of, and that sort of gets into going back to the first quarter, and I'll bring this one up, Al.
Yeah. Okay. Understand this one now. This is 3rd and goal from the 7. This is a tough call. I always said one of the hardest calls in football is 3rd down and 8+ because the field is restricted and they know you're going to pass, okay? This is a tough call. So What they're trying to do here is pull up the third man inside, that safety, on a sit route. Try to get him to come up so they can slip the ball behind him on a little short dig to Roman Wilson. And then Schoonmaker is going into the flat just to stretch that corner off of Ronnie Bell, okay? And so he doesn't jam him, or he has to play Luke so he can't chase Ronnie, okay? You just got a little sit swing combination on the backside, and they're really, I think, on this play more decoys. They're just trying to occupy that corner in safety so they don't incorporate themselves into the three-man side or the three-receiver side, okay? And on this play, the key for the quarterback on this play, the way I would coach the quarterback, is stare down that spot. Make them swear to God you're throwing the ball to Ronnie Bell. Stare at it. Hey, look, I'm throwing the ball. And then just as they start to lean on that stare, throw the ball behind him to Roman. Well, that's all well and good. Okay, that front line dig is where they really want to throw the ball. Okay, just so you know, you can see that. But it's another for Tampa, okay, or what I call for Tampa, where they're basically playing Tampa, playing four with the Mike linebacker blowing out. And he blows right underneath that front line dig and dissuades JJ from throwing the ball. He ends up checking the ball down. They got to kick a field goal. The one thing I'll say for he didn't force it. He didn't force it. And he gave them an opportunity to come out with points. But this play was pretty well defended, all told.
All right, so we just showed you. I mean, there were some other red zone plays we didn't really get into, other than the QB draw. We didn't get into, there was a bluff they ran down there. They definitely tried to incorporate JJ's legs more in the red zone. But as you look back upon it now, definitely there were some instances where there was some breakdown in the blocking. All right, so we saw that. There was. You could call it drop is maybe too strong a word. You could see how it could have been a touchdown. It was a ball that Luke could have caught, or if JJ, if he stares at the tight end and opens the window to Ronnie, maybe he could have hit Ronnie on the curl. But obviously, that's a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda. Mm-hmm. Coming off of that, Al, I mean, give me the thought process of what can you do to sort of increase the odds of success. Generally speaking, from a novice perspective, I'm saying, hey man, I'm trying to figure out ways to get my receivers more opportunities in the red zone. Devin says more fade balls. I don't know if you have some go-tos that might incorporate them more, but that's kind of what I'm thinking, to kind of piggyback on what we were talking about in the breakdown. But now folks have actually seen the plays, now game plan it based on what we just saw, what you would maybe sort of add to the arsenal to increase your odds.
Well, 3 or 4 things. I agree with Devin. There were some scenarios to throw some fade balls. If, again, get your best 50-50 guy the ball now. Get him, and they were singling the X in some of those situations, a wide field guy, and you did have an opportunity to throw a couple balls up, either on a fade ball or a back shoulder based on how they played the fade ball. I mean, if the guy was over the top of it, you could paint the back of his helmet with a little back shoulder fade and do that. I think that's an idea. Now, they're not a big fade team, and that requires some practice, but there are some chances. Not all were good fade ball scenarios. Sometimes they were in quarters with the corners off, and the fade did not look good. The other thing I think is, and again, I mentioned this before, it's not what you call, but when you call it, right? I think earlier passes, earlier downs, 1st and 10 passes, once you break particularly the low red zone, the 10-yard line, but also in plus 22, because you got 4 out of 5 runs, which again is okay if you run the ball. They're a good running team. You can see why they're doing that. That makes sense. But if you're struggling a little bit, you may have to switch it up a little bit and throw a touchdown or check down type play where you're attacking the end zone, and then if you don't like it, check it down, or maybe something high percentage, just to take a bite, just to change things up a little bit. And the other thing that I always like down there, and Michigan is very good at, is naked bootlegs. Again, I mentioned this in the other show. I went through my cut-ups a couple years ago and counted 27 different times when I was at Michigan, San Diego State, Auburn, or San Jose State, 27 different times on cut-ups, we threw touchdown passes on naked bootlegs. So I think there is a place for that. They did run one down there. They ran a little naked sail on the 22-yard line, which was wide open, but was not. It was a stay naked, and the tight end left too soon, and they ended up having to throw him the ball for an incompletion. So they have it. They have it in their repertoire, and it's something that can be, I believe, really lethal inside the 10, inside the 20, either place. That's another thing you could add. I mean, again, these are all calls after the fact. These are, I'm not saying that they're the answer, but when you're struggling a little bit, my thinking was always kind of change what you're doing, to do something a little different to help you get off in that area. Another thing I mentioned was scripting the red zone, having a little script right, on your red zone. Keep it right next to my call sheet. Say these are the first 5 plays I'm going to call when we break the 20-yard line, rather than leave it to just your call sheet, your 20-yard line selections. These are my selections. No, actually have in order what you're going to call. I've done that when we're struggling because, there's not a coordinator in the world that hasn't had a year where you go, oh God, we're not scoring very much in the red zone, and had to come up with some different deals just to get that thing going.
So there was one red zone touchdown.
Yeah, this was pretty cool actually.
I thought Devin hated it. I thought in the moment I was like, okay, I haven't seen them do jet motion with Blake Corum. This is the first time showing it. And Devin's opinion, his thought on it was, well, yeah, maybe they hadn't shown it, but it was obvious to the defense what they were going to do when they did show it. Still,
he doesn't like touchdowns. Does he like touchdowns? Now he's just saying he doesn't like touchdowns. Jesus, Jiminy Christmas, this guy. All right. Okay. What made it pretty clever is it's 14 personnel. They got 4 tight ends and 1 back. Now, I'm assuming they did that. It's hard for a receiver to catch a touchdown pass when there's none in the game. Okay. Mm-hmm. But in this instance, I think that's purposeful. They're trying to get a certain run defense that they want to see to run this play. That's what I'm guessing. Mm-hmm. That's why they have 14 personnel in there. So they shift everybody, and they shift Blake out there to wide receiver. Shift 2 empty, and then fly sweep to the field versus goal line 0, which means it's 0 coverage. There is nobody helping nobody, okay? And I believe they're bringing 5 guys on this, okay? There goes Blake to the width of the tight end, which is usually when the ball snapped on the fly. The defensive end is completely unblocked. You're assuming on this fly that he's going to close, and you're going to beat him around the edge because it's the fastest hitting sweep in football, because the guy catches the ball on the move. All right, so you see Hayes and Keegan are double teaming to the near linebacker. And I thought Hayes did a hell of a job of picking this linebacker off on this play. He did a hell of a job. Oluwatimi blocks the nose. Zenter blocks the 3 technique, and they zone back with the tight end and the right tackle, Barnhart and Honeford, to that Sam linebacker, number 7, who's really more of a linebacker than he is a nickel. The 2 wide receivers block their guys, and Luke steps around and goes and gets that near safety. Now, that guy, once you go in motion, he's unblocked. Now, I'm not sure why they didn't zone the right tackle and guard to that guy.
Glad you got to that, because I asked Devin this question, and he said, well, your offensive tackle is not going to get that guy anyway. And
he's crazy. You got to stick with talking about the quarterback, okay? Well,
and I said, but the backside guy is never going to make the play, so why not even make the attempt?
Well, the thing about it, a lot of times this is what happens, okay? On the goal line, those second-level defenders can always be tough to block. But what you'd like to do is come off and force him to bubble enough where he has to run around garbage to make the play on the wide play. You may not get him, but you can't give him a direct shot to just scrape and make the play, which happens here. Thank goodness Corum beats him anyway. But you got to cut off his path so it's not easy. Hopefully block him, but if you can't block him, at least inhibit him from having a direct shot to the fly.
So that dude almost makes the play.
Yeah, you can see right here. He beats the end, and he almost makes the play. A faster linebacker would have made this play. And my only contention is why wouldn't you bring 52 down and just scoop him and try and slip through there as best you can, dive at his feet, force him to run around, and make this tackle tougher to make.
Yeah, so what makes me think is by design, Alice, he doesn't make a step toward the linebacker. He's immediately
Yeah, he's gone. Yeah, he's gone. There's no question. So again, you don't know if you're going to get him or not. Just make his job harder.
Yeah.
And that's kind of goal line, Sam. Goal line, you can't block all those guys. They're all up in there. But what you got to do is make it so they don't have full frontal shots on the guy carrying the ball. If their shots come from the side, what happens, Sam? You fall forward and sideways, right? And forward means touchdown. But if they have shots that are full frontal shots, now you have a chance where the ball carrier can be knocked back.
All right. So moving on, Coach Borges, we gave folks the red zone synopsis, and we'll see. Well, I mean, that's something against a Rutgers team, aren't you? I mean, I know it's Rutgers, but I don't mean any disrespect in talking about these next two teams, but I just feel like you have an opportunity to really work on some things against these squads.
Yeah, try and get better at the phases of the game that you haven't, no matter who the opponent is, but try and get better at the phases of the game that you haven't been as good at.
Well, here's what I mean by that, Al. We know Michigan can really they can run over Rutgers. I mean, I have very little, not to disrespect them, but I have very little concern about Rutgers beating Michigan. If I want to work on some things on some drives that we aren't as good at, I'm just talking about mindset wise that we aren't as good at. I'm not as concerned about that killing me. That's going to get me beat as I might have been versus Michigan State. I'm just, again, that's not to disrespect the opponent, but I mean, might you be a little more intentional about working your throw game and particularly working your throw game to the receivers, even though that's not your bread and butter, is what I'm getting at.
I would approach the game no differently than I approach any game. I would go in with the idea that we're going to try. I would approach every game trying to get the ball to the wide receivers. It just so happened this last one they didn't do it as much, but I wouldn't change my thinking any based on the fact that it's Rutgers. I would just say the residual effects, the byproduct of our offense is that the receivers are going to get the ball more than they have in the past if we execute the plan the way it's supposed to be executed. That's the way I would approach it. And by that, I mean, when I go to the board and I start the game plan, I see to it that those guys are going to get opportunities to catch the ball. I'm not going to neglect them in any way, not that they have, but I'm just going to make sure that they are part of the plan and a big part of the plan.
Since we are talking about Devin, I got a question for you, Al, because
these questions about Devin give me a headache.
Well, listen, but you two had a major verbal sparring match over lookies, whether it's Z-sit lookie or Y-stick lookie or whatever. I mean, this was the thing. And what was the Hawaii game where he sort of froze the linebacker and you said, that's not a freeze. That's not a freeze. That's a risky play. Don't do it that way again. And he did it better the next time.
He did.
There was this play where it was the throwaway play, right? And Devin was like, "Oh, this is a great play. It's a great play thrown away. It is great once the play is broken down for him to don't take a sack, don't put the ball in jeopardy. He threw it out of bounds. But I asked Devin this question. I'm going to ask you now, Al, because I know the rules. This is too high. Go opposite the mic, right? Isn't that right?
Yep. The mic is a guy right in the middle of the defense, right?
Right.
The safeties are split. If the mic goes strong or just backs up and gives you the window inside the nickel, let it rip, right?
And so I asked Devin on this particular play, why doesn't he throw the lookie to Ronnie Bell right here? Can you, what's your theory on that? Devin said it's too hairy a throw.
He's drunk. That ball's got to go to number 8. You left, right, throw. Okay, he's drunk. He's got to stop nipping at the bottle in the morning because it's really inhibiting his ability to judge what's going on. That ball's got to go to Ronnie Bell. That you can see this. The mic goes strong. You have free access in the middle of the field with a safety split. That ball should hit Now it's not open. I mean, you hold it too long, you'll close it. What's funny about this play is when I watch it from the end zone, he looks like he's looking right at it. Watch his, he look like he wants it, but then he peeks outside. Well, Sam, why does he peek outside after that? See, what happened in the past is they've been squeezing these lookies. And last time they built in a route behind the lookie that he hit. But this time they don't have that route, but he's looking for it. And then he turns around and wisely throws the ball away, which he should do. But he thinks that this is too tight, but he doesn't think it was too tight when he threw it into a one high look and the linebackers both and the mic dropped towards it.
Do you remember what game that was, Al?
I think it was Hawaii, if I'm not mistaken. But
no, I'm talking about the Z-Sit Lion.
That was the last game. Last game of the game before. It was the game before the last game. Yeah.
All right. So that the game before that would have been Indiana, right?
Yeah.
I found it.
Okay. Now, this time the nickel squeezes it, right? It's a too high look, so he's thinking looky side, wisely so. Okay. But the nickel squeezes the looky, so he throws
to number 2
to the route behind it.
I think this is a good theory, Al. I mean, we'd have to ask. We have to ask.
Perfectly. See him squeeze it? Ball. See, there is no access. This is what you tell the quarterback. If the slot has access inside the nickel, give him the ball, which Ronnie Bell had clean access. This time he does not have access. If that's the case, throw the ball to the outside guy. Because there will be a window, there will be a throwing lane with the nickel squeezing the lookie.
So lookie, the slant is where in the, and I'll bring the other play back up, is where it's like, hey man, why didn't he throw that? Your theory is he thought that little end cut was coming in behind it.
Well, he sure looked like it because he looked outside to find it. When you go back to the other play, you'll see what I'm saying. But in previous games, they had cleared out just like they did here. They told the X just to go. See, he's just taken off. He's not available as a second receiver, okay? But he really wasn't needed because this ball should have just been thrown to Ronnie Bell off a punch plant throw.
Yeah. Devin just doesn't like lookies.
He don't like lookies. That's it. And what's really funny about that is when I coached him, I didn't give him a lot of lookies because I knew he didn't like lookies. We ran this same play, but we would run it out with a clear, and that way Devin wouldn't be dissuaded from throwing lookies. He's the only quarterback in the history of my life that didn't like it. But, you got to make it work for whoever's under center.
Yeah, and so I asked him, I said, Devin, would you just take lookies out the play? He said, no, well, you got to throw them. You throw look, but you just said you hate them. You never throw them. Why would you call
So they're basically a decoy.
Yeah.
And this is the guy screaming for more balls to go to the wide receivers. Okay, I don't get it, Sam. Doggone
it. Yeah. Volume, Al, volume. Let's, bring in more plays, especially if you're going to throw more lookies in there. Give me something I like. He doesn't like lookies. So anyway, back to the telestrations, Coach Borges. As now we will get back into the run game, and let's go to this tight zone that you telestrated.
Oh, this was nice. Yeah, this was nice. Okay, this is a tight zone play, not a stretch, but an inside zone play into a barrel cross. Now, this has been Michigan State's. This is the one defense that is carried over from the D'Antonio era. Tight zone versus I call it a barrel cross, where both linebackers are crossing in the A gaps, and they play a coverage called cover 3, where they stare at the quarterback if it's a pass and see where he's throwing the ball. I'll get into that more when I show you another one later when it's a pass play. So on this one, both the defensive tackles attack the B gap so they can open up the blitz lanes for both linebackers. One is going in the strong side A gap, and the other is going in the weak side A gap, okay? Now, to block it, all you got to do is step and wall them off, all right? The tackle sees that there's nobody lined up in the B gap, so he has nobody to zone to. So he tells the tight end, you just take your guy. I'm not helping you. I'm stepping down with the right guard to zone off this blitz. Okay. The left tackle will block that looper. Keegan will block the second linebacker to show. Olu will block the first linebacker to show. Zenter will block the 3 technique who's looping outside to open up the blitz hole. And Barnhart and I think it's Luke are
like
doubling to that nickelback. Okay? So all you do is it's like dominoes. You ever seen dominoes drop, Sam? You just block them down and watch them drop. Okay? Both receivers are pulled into a snug look so they can get those quarter safeties. They want to make sure those 2 safeties get taken out of the equation so Blake can run on those cover corners. Okay? They're not in the inside run drill, Sam. They're down there covering during the inside run drill. So we're going to see if they can tackle. All right? That's the picture. There's your unblocked guy, because as soon as Bell leaves that corner to crack that safety, that corner is now unblocked. But we'd rather be blocking that safety who comes flying up in quarters to stop the run and put Blake on that lesser tackler, that cover corner.
Yeah, like,
boom. There we go. And he missed him. And he missed him. Mission accomplished.
Yeah. Yes, sir. That's actually put your guy in one-on-one opportunities, Al Borges.
Absolutely, Sam. But the nice thing about it, they saw the blitz, they identified the blitz, and they blocked it to perfection.
All right, Al. We will now go to quarter 3, and let's go back into the pass game and get into a bingo cross. We love bingo crosses.
Hey, here we go. Now, pause it there, Sam. Let's talk here just a second. Here's the same defense. The same defense versus pass. The last time we ran an inside zone, this time we're running a bingo cross, okay? A bingo cross is a 6-man protection, which means the 5 linemen have the 5 guys and the Mike linebacker, whoever the center points to, and the back has whatever's left. Okay, he's the 6th guy to protect. They are showing the same blitz. The 2 tackles are going to be going outside. The 2 linebackers are going to be crossing and attacking the B gaps, or the A gaps, I should say. The safeties now and the droppers, anybody dropping into coverage, it's a 3 under, 2 deep, which is impossible to defend the width of the field on. Can't be done. You can't defend the width of the field with 4 players, never mind 2. So what do? They're counting on getting pressure and staring at the quarterback so they see where the ball's being thrown. I called it cover 3 eyes. All eyes on the quarterback. Jump throws. He's not going to have time to look off receivers or defenders because of the pressure, the 6-man pressure. So bingo cross, Z out, meaning the Z is running it out. Bingo cross, we'll telestrate here in a second, against a barrel cross 3. But you can see on the snap of the ball, hold on just 1 second here. Okay, here's the motion man coming across. You don't see him, but that's where Ronnie started.
Ready? All right.
The routes. Okay, there's your bingo cross. Again, 1 guy crossing, 1 guy digging. That's bingo cross. 1 guy crossing, 1 guy digging. The crosser's the first look. The digger's the second look. Okay, 1, 2. And then you have a premium look. Premium looks means if you see that the Z receiver is all by himself in a one-on-one situation, you can abort the bingo cross read and play catch with the Z receiver, and that's what you're seeing here. Okay, there's your blitz. Olu identifies the first linebacker, and Blake takes the second linebacker. So now you got 6 players to block 6. They rotate the safety down behind the blitz. The nickel comes down behind his blitz side, and they rotate to 3 deep with everyone staring at the quarterback, trying to get a beat on his aerial so they can jump a throw before he can look anything off and the pressure get to him. All eyes on the quarterback. That's where the ball goes. JJ sees the one-on-one, and rather than go through the bingo cross read, he knows that's one-on-one. He just takes a quick little pitch and catch throw on 1st and 10, and now it's 2nd and 2.
Yeah, he's really, really comfortable with Bingo Cross.
Yeah.
Clearly, one of his like he has that play down. I mean, we've seen him hit everybody on that. Like every option, we've seen him hit. So, I mean, I think I asked you at one point in the last couple of weeks, what do you give me your four or five best JJ pass plays outside of Bingo Cross? Because I'm like, I know that one's in there. But what else? What else would you say, Al? I mean, what are
Oh,
JJ's best?
he can complete Hank anytime you want it. He's almost dead money on that play. Excellent on sail routes. If he gets a look at the read, he's going to hit a sail. There's just no question in my mind. They got a lot of ways to get to that pass, formation, grouping, whatever. He has been on the money with any sail route. Okay.
And here's another Bingo
Daggers.
Cross
He's pretty good on daggers.
get another Bingo Cross in there.
Those types of plays.
This is another Bingo Cross.
This is another Bingo Cross. This time it's quarters coverage. Okay. And he just sees the first read and takes it. That's your first look if you've decided you don't want to throw the premium like you saw last time.
Mhm.
Crosser first, dig second. Then we saw against Indiana, he hit the dig twice.
Just showing it to you again. All right, here's one that Devin really liked, the trap pass. I mean, we all really like this one. This one's eluding the rush, making the throw downfield.
Yeah, this is just a great job of getting in the fight right here and finding the open receiver. You got two post routes with the tight end running the over route in behind it. Now, what makes this play great is the quarterback's ability to get underneath the trap block. Watch this. Bam. Now, there you go. See, now go back there, Sam, one time. See, this is a quarterback fundamental that a lot of people aren't really aware of. You get to the back of the pocket and you dip, but keep your hands in tight so he can't swat at the ball. See that? Right shoulder down, a swing and a miss. Now, back to profile, step, rotate, and roll it right over the top of that defender. But that little move, this is something that's practiced constantly, is getting under the rush by dropping your back shoulder, but not dangling the ball, because there's a tendency to do that sometimes. Keeping the ball within the perimeter of your shoulders so the rush goes by, and then getting your hat right back up the field to see the throw. If they eat up the throw, you're in position to tuck it and go.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Again, it's got to be practiced. This is an improv throw, but in a way, it's really not an improv throw because it's you practice the hell out of that happening in games.
Yeah. All right. So, Al, in a nutshell, this is in a nutshell time as we have now been through the game in its entirety, at least as far as our telestration of it is concerned. I mean, I sort of had you go through it in the breakdown. You mentioned scripting red zone.
It's another way. It's another thing
It's
to do.
another
You
way.
don't have to
We
do
don't
that.
know if they're going to do that. What we do know is, look, they aren't blind. They know they got to work on red zone. I don't know what their remedy is going to be. Again, I mentioned incorporating the wide receivers more, but I also wonder in as a part of feeding them. Did you ever step into a game and say, hey, you know what? I am gonna call X number of shots in this game. Just I'm gonna put that on tape, throwing shots. Now, a lot of times coaches will do that to loosen the defense. But I wonder, do you if you're a team like Michigan that you don't need it? I mean, obviously it's great when a defense is loose, right? But and like you need that in order to run the football. But would you do that just as a matter of involvement? Say, there are a certain number of shot plays I'm gonna throw in this game.
Yes. Yeah, I would. I would put sometimes in the first 17 plays, I would put 2 to 3 shots with the intent that, then you can't guarantee they're still going to get the ball, but the likelihood is great. I would put 2 to 3 shots into the first 15 plays, add another shot or two that you wanted to use in the second half. that maybe they had not seen, so that you knew by the end of the game you were going to get anywhere from 5 to 7 shots down the field, generally off play action passes. Not always, but generally off play action passes. That would involve some form of dagger, some form of stare, some form of four vertical, or some form of sail. Those all are downfield throws that are likely to go to the wide receivers, and you could put them into your opening plays or your second half. I call second half considerations, so that you, when you went into the locker room, you said, "I got to get to this play and this play before the half's over."
Let's close though, recognizing once again, I mean, we are talking about an 8-0 football team, an 8-0 football team that just handled and manhandled in the second half its rival. So perspective is important. To highlight anytime you beat your rival, no matter how you do it, especially when you push them around, that's always pretty. But why the emphasis on the things that they need to improve? Because their goal is title, Big Ten title and beyond, national title. What do you have to do to beat the best? Those were the things that we kind of focused on in film study. So,
yeah, just that's it. You sit down and see, what do we have to improve, and put an emphasis on that in practice. This isn't rocket science here. Okay, where if you're lousy in short yardage, make sure you put an emphasis on getting better in short yardage. If you're lousy in third down efficiency, put an emphasis on third. If you in coaching, you get what you emphasize now. You get what you emphasize. I learned that at a very early age. So if you want to get better in the red zone, emphasize the hell out of the red zone, send the message loud and clear, and then back it up by practicing the hell out of it. And you'll get better at it.
Yep. Well, Borges, another one in the books. We'll be back next week to talk about the breakdown of the Rutgers game. Go get a win, work on some things, stay healthy. Stay healthy. Injury is your biggest opponent to me in a game like this. So stay healthy, stay healthy, stay healthy. Folks, look, anytime we do these film breakdowns, I always let you know at the beginning and end that we do not use or do not own the footage used in this video. As such, we do not monetize it. We do not get sponsorship for it. We do not make any money off of these videos. We do them strictly for you, the people, for your entertainment, your education, and edification. That is a disclaimer that I offer just to let the footage owners know. Hey, look, we want to stay legal. We want to stay within the copyright rules. That's why we do it the way we do it. But you, the folks, can support us in a different way. You can like this video. You can subscribe to the channel. That way, every time we do one, you will get a notification. You can follow us over on the MichiganInsider.com. That is the best way to show love, is to subscribe to us over on the MichiganInsider.com. $1 gets you in your first month. This is a one-stop shop. If you are a huge Michigan fan, this is where you want to be. You get all of our videos. You get all of our podcasts, all of our written content, which is what we do mostly. Football, basketball, and recruiting coverage, second to none. You got the VIP message board where you can get all your intel. And then you also get access to all of the sites on the 24/7 Sports Network. So you want to know what's going on down at Auburn? With Cadillac Williams taking on, will he be able to hang on to those recruits? Michigan trying to steal Carmelo English away from him. He's already decommitted from Auburn, so it's not exactly stealing them, right? If he's already decommitted. But you can find out about things like that. You can find out what's going on with Tennessee and their recruitment of Jaden Davis. Things like that with a subscription to the MichiganInsider.com, which gets you your VIP access to all the 24/7 sports sites. $1 gets you in your first month. And then here's the good news. Once you get hooked and you stay beyond the 1 month, your subscription also gets you access to Paramount Plus on your television screen, on your computers. You cannot beat it. So, again, thanks for being with us.
Sam.
The Eye of the Tiger. I'm killing you.
I don't have a book because I sold them all out when I was down in Auburn. Sam, I don't know, man. I think I got a new career. I'm reinventing myself, reincarnated as Ernest Hemingway.
Or Cadillac could just call you to be an analyst for the last 4 weeks of the season.
Yeah, and I'll just tell Cadillac I'm retired doing Michigan football. Okay, but anyway,
spinning on
by the Eye of the Tiger. Right? What's that?
I said, what if he came and made you an offer you couldn't refuse?
Well, now my ears are always open, but I don't think that's happening anytime soon. So But Deny the Tiger, it's out and it's selling good and it's entertaining. 5 stars, 5-star rating I got on Amazon. I'm getting really cocky, thinking I might be an author. So feel free to buy it. It's got a few great Michigan stories in there too. So.
Gotcha. All right, folks. Well, be sure to tune in next time for the next edition of the Michigan Football Film Study focused on the offense with Al Borges.
Go Blue.